Hello and welcome back to the Ride Right Waxing workshop. Okay, tonight I'm going to be taking you through what I'm going to be doing to these brand new Salomon XDR skis. Let's get to it. Okay, so Salomon All Mountain XDR 76 STCs, bit of a mouthful, a brand new set of skis for a very good client of mine. These are a 160 in length ski, got a full wood core, and as you can see there, we've got the camber underfoot, a rocker of 16% on the nose, and an early rise tail. So, like I say, a lovely pair of skis, full fiberglass top coat, brand new set of bindings on here, obviously Salomon bindings. All ready to go out to Morzine in early January. So what I'm going to do to these skis tonight, because they're brand new, we're just obviously going to de-sticker them. But I thought I'd do a little bit of a different video tonight. I'll post a time lapse. As you can hear, the actual edges are lovely and sharp, obviously as you'd expect being brand new skis. But we're just going to detune the back ends and the front ends. And we're just going to lay a fresh layer of wax. Now, I know they come pre-waxed anyway, but so purely and simply so a client of mine can get a maximum absorption of wax in these skis as possible. We're going to get these just a fresh layer of wax on so they are ready to rock and roll. And we'll get at the Zardoff, there we go, just over the back there, ski and tune up. That's the kits I use just up on the shelf. We're going to be using the Zardoff Teflon coating, and I use that for two reasons. A lot of people go, oh, why do we apply that? You know, you should be able to buff them up. It adds a nice finish to them. Yes, it does. But what it actually does do, because it's Teflon, it actually applies a layer of Teflon to the actual edges. I've got a very good friend of mine who's actually bought a brand new set of skis in the summer. He's put them in his loft, obviously not used them, which is absolutely fine, but the edges are extremely rusty already. And I like to think the Zardoff, being 100% water repellent, will actually stick to the actual edges of the skis, and obviously stops any moisture sitting on that metal fresh strip and causing any corrosion. So I kind of use it as a bit of a storage, a bit of a transportation thing, as much as it obviously does give you a fantastic speed benefit on the slopes. And what I will be doing, I'm off to the French Alps first week of Feb. We've got this lovely product here from Butter called No More Knuckles, a graphite shred spray, basically, shred spray. So you just purely spray this on. It's a graphite kind of grey material. You spray that onto the base of your ski and it just gives you the extra slide. So what I thought I will do when I'm over is I'm going to do a bit of a comparison. I'm going to put the No Knuckles up against the Zardoff and we'll have a bit of a speed run, be it myself or one of my good friends. And we'll basically maybe do his skis or board. It's not going to be anything scientific. It's just going to be like, right, how did it feel? What's it like? And kind of go through there. So that'll be a video to come on my channel, obviously early Feb, as well as a few other bits we've got going on. So yeah, let's put this phone back in the frame and let's get to these skis and talk you through what we're going to be doing. Okay, so I hear you ask yourself, why is a brand new set of skis in the workshop to be prepped when really when you buy a new set of skis, they are all ready to go out onto the slopes. The bindings are fitted, they've come pre-waxed, they're basically nice and sharp on the edges, you're ready to go. What I like to try and do with all my clients if they buy a new set of skis is obviously, one, give them a good check over, make sure the bindings are all fixed properly to the actual ski itself, we don't have any problems on day one. Number two, we have obviously surplus of glue, basically squeezed from when fitting the rails. We're just going to clean that up, get that off to give as much exposure as base as possible. And obviously I don't know where these have been sat. These may have been sat in a shop window, they may have been made many months ago in the summer period. I don't know how dry these bases are. They do actually feel very good, but again, by loading some more wax into them, you're only going to do a good thing. By loading it up, stripping it back, these are going to be as porous as physically possible at the moment because they're new. Let's get as much wax into this base as possible, so basically it extends the life of the ski as long as possible. So I'm going to be using a scraper. This is freshly sharpened and we're basically just going to scrape. You can see the glue coming off there already We're going to scrape the excess glue off. Again, we use a plastic scraper, not a metal, because obviously it's a little bit more beneficial to the base itself. So we're just going to clean these bases up, and then we're going to be using a gummy stone. This is a new one, and this is a very not quite well used, but this is getting on there to be a used gummy stone. Now this is a lot softer. It's softer squeeze, obviously, than a file, and it basically, what we're going to do is deburr the edges to make this part of the ski. I always go in about 4 to 6 inches into the ski to blunten the edges both front and back. And the reason for doing so is so you don't catch an edge. You catch an edge, you run the risk of breaking a collarbone. So you want these to be quite dull, because you don't really ski on these as much. You actually ski on the side of the ski and you turn through the center. So we can actually dull these down so you don't go catching an edge. So we're just going to run the gummy stone down both sides, front and back, on both sets of skis. The actual ski itself on the rail is very, very sharp. And the good way of telling this, if you get your ski out and you just run your nail down the side, you can actually pull up a little bit of nail there, and that tells you that the edge of the ski is nice and sharp. So if you want to make sure that your edge of your ski is sharp, just get the back of your nail and just run it down the edge of the ski. And if you're getting a little bit of nail being left behind, then they're nice and sharp. If you're not, then obviously why not book in with me if you live in Devon, and we'll get those nice and sharp for you. There's nothing better than having a nice sharp edge on a ski. You can hold it in the ice, and it actually makes your riding ability, I think, a lot better. And it gives you more purpose on the snow. So sharp edge is always a good thing. So we're just going to get rid of this glue. We're then going to deburr both front and back. I'm going to time lapse the glue removal, because that's very, very boring, and then we'll talk you through the gummy stone and the deburring. Let's get on with it. Okay, right, what we've done here is basically just removed this glue, and the glue ran all the way down the side of the ski on both sides. Now this is obviously the ski I've just scraped, as you can see, and this is the ski with the glue on. And the reason for me doing this is, one, I want to make sure that I have cleaned the base as much as possible and exposed as much area of the actual base structure itself. Now, I know the front and the edges, necessarily by running this on the snow, this would wear off in due course anyway. But again, here at Ride Right Waxing, I just like to make sure I'm ultra fussy. And if I need to expose every single last millimetre of the base as possible to wax, then I will do so. The other reason, coming on to the deburring side of it, you can see there in the centre of the picture, just by the little mark where the two skis have rubbed when they've been obviously being transported, the actual base itself. So we've got this bit here from the machine at the factory. You can see this angle getting greater and greater and greater as we move into the picture. And this is fully, and then it fizzles out as we come down. Now that is the end of the sharpening, just there where my fingertip is. Now that means when we pull that back, that area there is still, as you can hear, very, very sharp, but it's not been machined. You can just about pick that angle up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that back a good 6 inches on both skis, just to take that edge off, again with that gummy stone, to make sure that we don't get any sharp spots there, so we don't get any catching areas for the client. So yeah, we're going to get onto this one now. I'm going to pop that ski over the side. We're going to do this one secondary. We're going to wax this one now, so I'm just going to give it a quick wipe over, make sure there's no debris on here, again from storage. As you can see, it's not perfectly absorbed. You can see it is a little bit dry. That's why, again, me being ultra fussy, I always like to lay down a fresh set of wax, because then you know that that base is fully absorbed and it is best as it's physically going to be for your week out on the snow. As we all know, ski holidays aren't cheap, so you want to make sure that the gear that you are taking is as best as condition as possible, because the last thing you want is to have slow skis. makes the holiday that little bit more harder work. So let's move this ski across. I'm going to pop the phone back in the into the housing, and I'm just going to video and talk you through the waxation side of things. Let's get to it. Okay, let's get this one moved out of the way. Put this on the ski rack. If you do wonder why I wear ridiculously stupid trousers, it's because I've ruined far too many pairs of very good jeans when waxing. Get wax on your clothes, it's done for. So, yeah, so please comment below if you like the trousers. I won't be offended at all. So, what we're going to do is basically clean this base back down. We're going to be using, this is nowhere near as strong as a citrus base. So this is the Zardos Super Z Citrus Base Cleaner. If you've got really dirty skis, this stuff is very, very strong, and it quickly strips any dirt and wax as well. And I try to keep as much wax in the actual board or the skis as possible. So I try not to use that unless obviously it is really, really grubby. It's 100% biodegradable, so it's all good stuff. What we tend to do is use this other diluted solution, Grind Busters green stuff. Again, I purchased this through Butter. Really, really great stuff. It's not as should I say abrasive, should we say, as the Zardos stuff. It's all eco-friendly, 100%, cleans most surfaces, plastics. They use this in multiple areas, so ski basing is one, because again, it's proven by Butter. They've endorsed the product themselves, which if they have, that's good enough for me. So, yeah, cleans worktops, children's toys, garden furniture, PVC, window frames, you name it, this stuff cleans it, but it's nowhere near as abrasive as a Zardos. So we're just going to lay some of that down. I'm just going to give it a quick wipe over to make sure there's no debris in there, and then we'll go from there, okay? Now, what I also do is I make sure when cleaning the ski, I try to do one pass with one cloth and then turn it, so we're not using a dirty surface back onto the actual ski itself. So one pass, dry side, back up again. Again, dry side, one more pass, done. Cleaned. Now, what I also do is use a lovely pink hairdryer, and we warm the base up. It's like the pores of your skin. Opens up the pores of the actual base itself by just warming it up. We're going to get the iron on as well. So again, with the iron itself, we're going to be actually taking the iron up to about 110, 115. Let that start to warm up. We're going to move base covering to expose the grubby base. This is where all the dirt goes. Okay. That's warming up nicely. And what wax are we going to use? So, a couple of waxes I've got. I've got a graphite wax, I've got the original wax as you've seen on other films, and I've got the Pro. We're going to be going for the Pro tonight because it's a slightly harder a hard wax that goes onto the actual ski, and it's actually slightly faster. And the skier that's got these skis is quite an advanced skier, so we're going to be going for this one. Like always, I always ask for their feedback, see how they've got on with it. So, blue in colour, that's warming up. I'm just going to warm the base up with the hairdryer first. On a low heat to start off with. We're just going to open up the base of the ski itself. Okay, so that base is now nice and warm. Basically opened up all the pores now, so when we start dripping this wax in, yes, the iron will actually heat it up a little bit more as well. It's about temperature control on the base of the actual, or top of the ski, should we say. So we're going to now drip that in. So this is now running at 120. This is a proper ski waxing tool. It has no holes in the bottom of it, and basically the thicker it is, it regulates the temperature to keep an even heat coming out of the iron. So we spread that even heat is basically across the whole of the ski, again giving maximum absorption of the wax into the ski. Now, how I like to do it, you see lots of people like to rub it on. You can rub it on if you wish. You can get rub on wax, because I like to drip it on. So let's go through this. So again, we just get the ski, get the wax. As you can see, it's all melting, and we're going to sort of drip this on. I always like to do the ends, and then I run up one side and then down the other, and you do a zigzag, and we come back again. Now you can be quite reserved with this, or you can be quite generous. I'm a great believer of more wax on the ski, because what you mustn't do is let the actual iron touch the base. You can't burn the base, and as you can see already, it's melting, and I like to get a good coverage over the whole ski. I just like to work it in. So we just purely go up and down until it's all melted. Keeping the iron moving all the time, and by doing so, by keeping the iron moving, you're not keeping it in any certain spot, so you're not actually going to burn the base of the ski. You keep this moving, and you're adding more heat into the ski every time you pass. So I like to, again, just make sure I've got good coverage, and you'll see the wax behind start to set, which is fine. I always give it a little bit of a wiggle. And all we're doing is just loading up all the wax that's actually been fitted to the ski when it came out of manufacturing. And I'm no way saying that I am better than any machine, but again, at least if you know you've done it, you know you've done it. So you've got the confidence that the wax is on there, and you're going to get the best days out on the slope as physically possible. So let's just get this, keep this come back down the bottom, and always feel the top of the ski, and you'll feel that warming up, and that's purely and simply because you're actually penetrating the whole ski with the heat. It doesn't get it too hot because you don't want it delaminating the ski, but you want to get it nice and warm. So again, it holds the heat into the ski, because I'll put this in a hot room now for 24 hours, and basically that heat just stays in the ski. It keeps the pores open as long as possible, sucking that wax into the actual base of the ski. And the reason, again, I put it in a hot room is purely and simply to give it that better chance. Now you can do, and I offer, a hot wax scrape. Now basically what a hot wax scrape is you'd lay the wax down, and it will start to form and set, and then you scrape. Not when it's wet like this, more so when it's like this up here, but then you scrape the ski with the scraper, and basically what that does, it pulls all the dirt out. Again, think of it like your skin. When you scrape that wax off, it pulls all those dead heads, should we say, straight out the ski, all the dirt, giving that basis basically as much exposure to absorb the new wax when you do apply it. So we'll just come back up again. Base, the top of this ski is getting nice and warm. Now, by the looks of things on these skis themselves, both the front and the tips, or should we say the tips and the tails, have got a slight concave feel to them. So with that, I have to try and turn the iron to make sure I get that into the actual base of the ski itself, so we get full coverage, because when I cover it, the centre of the ski is drying a lot quicker. And I expect Salomon has designed that to give it a little bit less surface touch to the actual snow itself, to give it a little bit more performance, maybe in powder or when you're actually on piste itself. So right, so this is getting lovely and warm. So now what I try to do now is do 1 and then 2 very slow and steady passes. So we're just going to get this nice and warm, and then we try and push as much of the wet wax at the front of the iron as possible to give it a very, very level coverage. So we're just going to go nice and slow up the ski now. I'm building up that wax on the front of this ski, you'll see it dripping off. And by doing so, we're going to get ultimate coverage now. Maximum heat, but again, keeping the iron moving at all times. Nice and steady. And if you watch some of my other videos, you'll actually see me doing this. But the time lapse itself makes it look like I can wax skis in seconds. But this pass is always the same speed. So almost on the time lapse itself shows it as a very steady speed itself, almost real time. And then we come back for one final pass. Again, base is lovely and warm, so that'll hold that heat in now when I move it into the hot room. So we're just going to do one more very slow pass. And it gives a very nice uniform finish to the actual wax when it sits on the ski and dries. So it does somewhat help scraping the wax off when we come to take it off tomorrow. Okay. I'm going to do with this bit is just to make sure we get that concaved part of the ski course. So that is lovely. That is now fully done. Top of the ski is lovely and warm, but not too hot. And that will hold that heat in, and you can just see it sucking the wax into the actual base itself. So this is now all finished. I'm going to undo this. I'm going to pop this into the hot room, and I will put you back on time lapse, and we'll get the other ski done as well. And then tomorrow we'll have a look at the final finished product. Now this is the second ski, and the reason why I just stopped the time lapse is I wanted to show you something very, very quickly. You can see the discoloration just here. Now this is where the glue basically ran down the ski. on both sides. You can see it not quite so much on that side, but definitely this side. And obviously the wax itself that's been applied is being laid up and over the glue. So the actual base of this ski just by the rail there is not had any wax on it at all. Now the edges of any ski or any snowboard, as you can see, it's quite heavy and quite thick. The edges of any ski and any snowboard will go the driest the quickest, because that is where you do all your turning. That is basically where you drag, where you brake, where you stop. So you, if anything, need to load as much wax in this area as possible. And you tend to find that on your skis, because this area here, when you transition from here to here, it gets used, but nowhere near as much as obviously the edges itself, because you're forever cutting. Think about when you ski, very often do you ski, unless you're straight lining, do you sit with not any edges touching the snow at all. So just thought I'd show you that. That's another reason why I like to get rid of the glue and then lay down a nice fresh layer of wax. We can get the wax right up to the edge of the actual rail itself, up to the edge there. So yeah, let's get back to the time lapse. Okay, that is the second ski. The wax is now all applied. You can see it there just drying. A nice steady even coat all the way along there, and that's just the final part there. Yeah, it was sucking quite a lot in, to be honest. I was quite surprised how much wax was just bubbling there along the base of that ski. So obviously we haven't detuned the edges yet, which we will do once obviously all wax. You don't actually touch the base with a gummy stone. It's only purely to take the very corner of that off there, as you can see. But we clean all the excess wax off the side, obviously to make sure that edge is as clean as possible. And then we finish off with the Zardos. Just again, not so much for cheating or anything silly like that, because we still go through the brushes and polish the ski as much as we can to make it as fast as possible. But purely and simply to protect those edges and those metal sidewalls to any corrosion. You can imagine how cold it gets in the base of the plane, etc. Just to give basically a fantastic finish to that ski. So the first day is on the slope, it's as best as it physically can. So again, that's what we do here at Ride Right Waxing. So yeah, I'll catch you in the morning. This is going to go off to the hot room, and we'll start stripping, and I'll take you through that stage. Okay, so these skis have now been in the hot room for more than 24 hours. I've brought them back into the workshop just to cool, and basically like we've been talking about, the base of the ski being like the pores of your skin, but bringing them back into a colder environment makes those pores really close up, so it's holding that wax in the base of the ski. So I've just started to scrape this. Lovely new freshly sharpened plastic scraper, just to get all the wax off. You don't ever really go across the ski. This is just a plastic buffer on the end. You always go up the ski and pushing the wax. Not too much force down onto the ski. If you've got a sharp enough scraper, you just simply push and the wax itself gathers up. And then what we'll also do is just take all the edgings off to make sure the edges are as clear as possible for any wax. As you can see there, we're just removing it off the rail, like so. So we'll clean all the edges up. We'll gummy stone just on the back 6 inches of the tail, and on the tip 6 inches either side, just to take that edge away from if it was going to catch when on the slope, which we do not want for the client. And then we'll finish off with the brushes. Now the brushes, let's quickly go on to the brushes. We have a nylon brush, okay, slightly harder than your metal brush. Your metal brush is basically for structuring. This is a copper brush. You can get stainless steel as well for a little bit more abrasion, but this is the nylon brush. So this basically, once you've pulled as much of the wax off the base of the ski as possible with your scraper, this just pulls all the wax from the structure of the ski, so opening up all the little valleys that you can't actually see with your eyes so much, but it just pulls all that wax, that's residue that's left in the actual structure of the ski. Like little ball bearings, I'll show you that shortly. and then we finish off with a horsehair brush. Now, you can never do enough passes with the horsehair brush. This just really polishes the ski up. Gives you a little bit more structure to the ski, obviously gives it a very good glide. And then we'll finish off with the Zardos. The Zardos Teflon, liquid pure fluoride Teflon coating. But again, we put that on, one to, give the base a little bit more purchase on day one on the slopes, because this doesn't last forever, sadly, but more so for the interim between now and when the client actually gets out on the slope, protecting those edges from any corrosion, for if any moisture were to sit on there, it's not going to penetrate into the actual ski itself. So again, that comes on last. So what we're going to do, we'll do a quick time lapse. You'll see me go through the brushes. I may stop in between, but we're going to get the residue of this wax just off just shortly. Put those back over there. We're going to clean the scraper. Try and keep the scraper as clean as possible of any debris. Give it another sharpen. The sharper the scraper, the easier the job. Let's get back to it. Okay, so using a nylon brush, quite a stiff brush, not really abrasive in any way, shape or form, but you can see these little ball bearings of wax that are coming out of the structure of the ski. So what we're going to do is just going to brush these off. It's like little snowflakes. It's like snow in my garage. Okay, so when we brush, you can see it's pulling all that wax out of the structure. And basically, I will do this until I've done many passes and the actual wax itself has all been removed. So brush that off and we just keep going again and again and again. There we go, even more. Not quite so much third time round, but we're going to do that down the whole length of the ski and really pull that structure back into the ski. So I thought I'd quickly do that just to show you exactly what the nylon brush does. We're now going to be using, not the pedal brush, the horsehair brush, and we're just going to go back over this as many times as we physically can to get that ultimate shine on the base of that ski as possible. And then we'll finish off with the Zardos. But before we do the Zardos, I will do the tips and tails. Actually, I'm going to do those now just quickly, and then we'll just wipe the ski down, then we can finish off with a full polish. So let's leave that on camera. This is ever so simple. Simply take the gummy stone. We don't need to be touching the base of the ski at all, and then we're just going to literally, palm of my hand, run up and down. And all this is doing is just taking that contact point, that sharp point off the tails. And we'll do the same on the other side. You can actually hear it taking that edge off, that material. Lovely, nice sound. That means it's doing its job. Okay, where's my other brush? Non-wax brush. Lovely, now onto the tips. Same applies on the tips. We're just overlapping that machining part that we saw earlier at the beginning of the film. Just overlapping into that there. So we get a lovely transition. Now again, I don't claim to be the most, well, I'm not the most professional snow waxing chap in the world, but I do take a lot of pride in what I do, and I would welcome any feedback if there's anything you think that I'm not doing right. As long as it's constructive and not just trolling like, sadly these people love to do. If it's constructive, please I'm all ears. Anything to make my life easier, better, and to give a better product and quality to my clients, then I'm all ears. Like I say, as long as it's constructive, please give me some feedback back if there's something I'm not doing or I'm doing wrong. Again, I don't proclaim to know everything. I don't proclaim to be a professional ski waxer, but if that's something that I end up doing in the future through comments and bits and bobs you feed me, then so be it. So yeah, let's get back onto the horsehair brush. Okay, right, here we go. This top ski here, as you can see, is all finished. You've got the structure there looking lovely in the ski, and that wax is right up to the edge of that ski now. So there is no issue there of any dry areas. This ski is ready to rock and roll. It's all Teflon coated, again, around the side of the ski, around the actual edging side of it. And I've done that purely and simply, again, for transportation. This lower ski here, there's no point in you hanging around. I'm just going to do exactly the same to this lower ski as I've done with this top ski. Like I say, it's quite a long-winded process. I am super fussy. I like to make sure everything is tip-top. But you can see the shine on there. These, again, are off to the French Alps early January. I'd like to thank the client for obviously letting me have these skis to get this done for them. I always send them a link to the video, upload this onto YouTube. So if you'd like to hit that like button, if you'd like to hit that subscribe button, more importantly, and if you'd like to hit the bell, then any other bits of documentation that I'm going to be doing, I will be doing reviews as well as other people's skis. That way then we can document exactly what I've done to the ski. The client's got something to look forward to, because I make sure these are fully wrapped then for transportation, so we get no ski chatter. So when they get over to the French Alps, there is basically as near as new as we can get them, obviously once they leave my workshop. So yeah, so thanks ever so much indeed for watching. Like I say, if you're in the Devon area and you'd like your skis or snowboard obviously wax, I do a collection delivery service within distance and within miles, obviously within reason. Please give me a call on that number just there. But other than that, from the Ride Right Waxing workshop, I'd like to thank you very much indeed for watching this film. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you soon.